Hello, what's up? Long time no see. And Splatoon Raiders gonna hop into my radar. And I was playing at some time, and deeply and serious, I was reminding myself such things like a Nintendo 44 offerings such as Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. I simply never saw the appeal of the shooters with the more often than not heavy militaristic vibes. It wasn't until 2017, and first of all, found out about the Splatoon 2, and this one is brought a genre into my radar. The paintball, are you squid? Well, shut up and take my money. I didn't know all the time, but I found a franchise that would soon become all of my time favorite. The silliness that is backed into the Splatoon's DNA hides a technical deep that is both challenging and exceptionally satisfying to master. And nowhere is it through than PvE mode, Salmon Run, where I spend most of my time in the game. When it was confirmed early this year that Splatoon Raiders would feature salmonids and the other ugly cute glory, it basically turned me into the human equivalent of the starry emoji's motion. And I would say something about else, but honestly, I forgot. So let's move on. So for me, it's been a long year waiting for this game to release. So I'm not going to beat around the bush. And you know what? It is phenomenal game. And if you die hard salmon running like I am, you're for a hell of a treat. Your adventure starts when the deep cut, the treasure hunting idol trio from Splatoon 3 gets started on the mysterious Spinophile Islands. You take on the role of mechanic, the resourceful pilot who can cobble seemingly any kind of gadget or gear discarded as junk, and something else which is very resourceful pilot who can cobble seemingly any kind of gadget or gear out of discarded junk, and together with the Shaver, Fry, and Big Man explore the islands in the search of lucrative bounty. As I mentioned in my previous video, Splatoon Raiders is a build on the strong foundations of Salmon's Run PvE gameplay. The mode transitionally consists of ways where you must defeat the aggressive, amphibious fish salmonites and ferry a quota of their gold eggs back to the basket before the time runs out. Raiders both streamlines and expands upon this formula, offering a broad variety of platforming areas, challenging dungeons, boss fights, and exploration, while doing away with the golden eggs entirely. Instead of bosses now dropping up, grab, and go, Mega Power Eggs, which used to power the God Bundy. A mech that basically help you to drill for a treasure and navigate a tricky terrain. Before playing the Raiders, I had some reservations about removing the golden eggs would translate in the feel of the game. After all, a big part of what makes Salmon Run such as an appealing mode is how you must constantly evaluate your priorities whenever this is killing bosses, hustling the eggs, or simply staying alive. Meeting water with barely a second to spare as you dodge for your life is all part of adrenaline pumping fun, but it turns out the Raiders' time levels captured this frantic energy perfectly. There were plenty of the times where I managed suicidal dash into the solid tsunami of the fish, hoping to grab the last mega power egg and fill up my meter before the time ran out. The chaos feels like a salmon run in a deeply recognizable way, without ever overcomplicating the objectives you need to judge and juggle in the single player setting. In addition to the levels where you're farming the power eggs on the timer, there are wide open areas across a range of biomes where you can take your time and hunting down the secret on the map. Raiders also borrows from the stronger entries in the Splatoon single-player campaigns, such as an Octo expansion DLC with bite-sized simple dungeons offering creative challenges that make use of the gameplay unique weapons, gadgetry, and new movement options. One of my favorite where only ability was an explosive forward jump, which was used to create something insanely fast precision platforming. Despite how short these dungeons are, they're a hell of a lot of fun and offer refreshing change of pace against the frantic murder sprees that make the bulk of the game. Weaponry is also a strong point in the Splatoon Raiders. There are over 100 weapons to choose from, which you collect as randomized loot groups as you play. The designs here are fantastic. Brightly colored pieces over hacked together junk, bringing a distinctly homemade aesthetics to the fit standard island setting. In the series, first, weapons were also leveled, with the stronger drops unlocking the further you get into the campaign. Something I love about the traditional co-op Salmon runs is how random weapons allocations forces you to be highly adaptive to every new scenario, and I wasn't sure if it would be possible to translate this into a game like Raiders, which is an emphasis on the build customization. However, the heavy randomization of loot drops and the expansive range of weapons work perfectly here. The pace at which you level up ensures you never guaranteed to have a strong version of your preferred weapon class at your disposal, encouraging you to branch out and switch up your gear from the next level to the next level. The moments where I pushed myself to take on challenge using my weaker weapon classes often ended up with the most boring fun. It took a few tries to get there. It made my eventual victories is more interesting. In lieu of traditional Splat bombs, Splatoon Raiders offers gadgets, strong sub-weapons with attack and abilities that align with the speed, power, or tactic-focused playstyle. The weapons can be upgraded using the collector from Salmons on the raids. And although there is an excessive number of the gadgets to choose from, you'll constantly find yourself going back to fix the builds until they just right. The scope for customization is really remarkable, and I practically love tinkering with my loadout for the den raids, where you face off against the enemies of mostly one kind. It was a lot of fun trying to find the most efficient builds against specific enemy weakness and get out of there with the loot in hand. On the note, the enemy variety is also excellent, with both a wide range of boss salmonids and some extremely memorable main boss fights to put you throughout your places. Throughout it, you also get a no deep cut better. The story is absolute joy with the Shiver Fry and a big man finally getting their moment in the spotlight, as they expected in the series that is heavily centered around musicians. The soundtrack absolutely slaps. Your play character is something with a blank state of the story to be told around you, but this is not a bad timing with the mechanic also demeanor creating humor throughout the contrast with the deep cut earnest. The trio gorgeous characterization comes in the details throughout the game, such as a description of the treasuries you collect. They are so sincerely confident, which makes their sheer inaccuracy that much funnier. The writing also expands on existing Splatoon lore, and while I think you get more of the stories, you will have a knowledge of the series to begin with. It's self-sufficient enough that it shouldn't be alienating for the newcomers series earlier. Well, I would say that we can split it into two things, two criteria, the good and the bad. I'll start from the bad, right? Easy to end up overwhelmed throughout the multiplayer. My campaign story ends a little bit abruptly, and I just want more. The good thing, the fish have tongues, delightful writing, amazing soundtrack, solid build customization, excellent range of content, fun challenges, boss fights, and platforming. You know you hit gold when the biggest criticism of the game is just wanting more. Between the fast-paced technical gameplay and the deep of the build mechanics, the irrelevant design that undersigns the Spout series, this is the experience that's shockingly hard to fold. Go, play it, check it. Thanks.